Hello there and welcome. I haven't posted in a while, so I figured why not just do a little quick video of the interesting lane swap that I saw during the finals of the MSI, GenG versus BLG. In order to look at this, we first need to understand what GenG is doing. So the lane swap that GenG have decided to opt into is kind of called the T1 swap, which is basically your jungle and top, they start at bot side and they path into top, and your bot lane will be laning top for the first 4 waves, and then they will base and go back bot. This is something you can always do, which is the idea behind it is to avoid the early dominant laning phase that Varus and Ashe has. So what would happen in this game if it was a completely standard game where everyone went to their lane, is that Orianna would just force the pry on mid, Xin Zhao would path bot, maybe he'd do 3 camps bot side, and then he would just either invade or he would dive enemy bot lane, because they would get very chunked in the early laning phase. So the lane swap came out in order to counter this. The lane swap is not a way to completely run away from your opponent, but it's to avoid the early laning phase that is the most oppressive. So once Blitzcrank and Kalista get some levels, the laning phase doesn't become as oppressive. But Ashe is the strongest level 1 champ there is, especially with Hellblaze as well. So the idea behind it is, why I call it as well, the T1 swap, is basically that you will be laning top for the first 4 waves, get to level 3, and then you match lanes, and then it becomes a lot easier. Even though you might lose out like a plate or 2, it's a lot better than getting dove on bot and having your jungler lose his camps, and you will be maybe 1-2k behind RJ from early game and lose out the Drakes automatically. So this is why the lane swap became a little bit more popular. It's a way to avoid their laning phase. Now, in order to look at this, we first need to look at the T1 swap and what it is. So I'm gonna take a look at one of the examples versus G2. And the reason I call it the T1 swap, I might be incorrect and maybe some other teams did it more often. I just call it the T1 swap because I've seen them do this one the most often. And it's basically them just starting bot side with their top jungle, they're gonna clear together, and then they're gonna do 3 camps, and then they're gonna be on top when the 3rd wave crashes to be ready to dive enemy top laner. Now every case with lane swap is gonna be different depending on how the opponent reacts, because in this case Braum goes mid and he shows, so Zeus finds a window to get some experience around bot. Either way, I just want you to take a look at what Gumayushi does, and he's gonna be pushing 3 waves, he's gonna stack them, and once it crashes, he's just gonna go base, and then they're gonna continue the normal laning phase. So Gumayushi is gonna do similarly to what Pace does and go into the bush, and then it's gonna reset. Now Courier here is just gonna proc his Demolish, and then they're gonna base, and then they're gonna continue normal laning phase, and Broken Blade TP's top, leaving Broken Blade in a situation where he will no longer have TP, which will give Zeus TP advantage. But the best part about this swap is to give your top lane an advantage. Bot lane is always going to lose out on this because the bot lane turret is a lot more squishier than the top lane turret. So it's more about getting your top lane in a better situation, because the top wave will bounce, your enemy top lane has a TP, so you get automatically TP advantage, which will be very beneficial for your early laning phase. Now we can go back to the GenG game, and I want you guys to pay attention to what you just saw. You saw Gumayushi go into the bush, and then he resets, and then he goes back bot. So keep that in mind as I show you the next example. But in this case, GenG or BLG, they know that they're going for a swap, so they invade their bot side, because it's relatively obvious when you're playing versus Varus Ashe, you're probably not gonna lane versus them. Kalista will stand top and just push the wave, and now you will see the 3rd wave is about to crash, and they will start beating up the turret. Because normally the T1 swap would be that you base and then go back bot, but in this case it's a very different case because they have Varus Ashe. I don't think you want to go into bot just yet. But what GenG does here is a very beautiful mind game. I would say it's kind of like playing chess. So this is the 4th wave just arriving, and GenG is gonna clear that wave together with Keen, and then they're gonna go into the bush, giving the intention to the opponent that now we're gonna base and we're gonna look to match you. So enemy bot lane has to base as well, because otherwise the enemy bot lane comes out with an item advantage, leaving them weaker in the laning phase. So what's really beautiful about this play is the amount of mind games that is going on right now. So right now we can see the entire screen, right? But this is not what like BLG is seeing. They just saw Kalista go into the bush together with the support, and they're assuming that they're probably basing. And same goes for actually GenG. They also saw them go stop hitting the wave, and they're peacing out. So normally here, the top laner would be a little bit greedy. Maybe Bin would be like, okay, I'm gonna TP top. They probably base their this timer, they would count to 8 in their heads. But there's so many mind games levels going on right now that both of them are counting the 8, thinking that like, okay, they're probably base right now, but there is a chance that they're still staying. So they really want to give off the impression that, hey, I'm not going to TP top. But at the same time, BLG is doing the same mind game. They're expecting GenG to base and go bot, and they want to catch them off guard when they're trying to arrive to bot. So they have a timer in the head that already started from, they see them go into this bush at 3:11. So they're counting in their head right now, okay, 8 seconds, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 9. Okay, they should be, boom. So now they should be in base, in theory. Once they went out of fog and they started recalling, which means that they should be in base right now. And BLG is actually thinking about this as well, where they should be on the map right now. They should be around the inhibitor at this point, and they're on the way to bot lane. So their idea is, hey, let's pretend that we're actually basing, but let's cheese them as they're walking into bot lane. But GenG is thinking the same thing, hey, they might actually cheese us, so let's continue staying here on top, in case Ben TP's top. So the mind games that is going on right now is out of this world. It's like both teams are just playing chess and they're calling each other's bluff. So GenG went into fog at 3:11, and Bin TP's top at 3:38. So 27 seconds later, GenG's bot lane is still there. And BLG give up on the idea that they're actually coming bot. And now they think, okay, it's been 27 seconds, they shouldn't still be top at this point. And Bin is actually not like inting or something by TPing. It's a really fair assumption to assume that they went base. But they didn't fucking go base. They're actually still in this bush, just waiting and hoping that Bin will be TPing top. BLG went into fog at 2:20. And they were hiding in that bush for 20 seconds, hoping that GenG or their bot lane is going to path through bot, but they didn't. So GenG won the chess match in this case. I thought like it was amazing to watch that there is hope, knowing that Bin is eventually gonna TP top. Like I think most top laners after like 10-20 seconds would already TP. Bin actually waited an extra 7 seconds, and he waited to 27 seconds before he TP'd, and they were still in that bush. And it's a beautiful play from GenG. I just think there's no good situation for GenG in this case, because if they do go bot and they are cheesing, they're just fucked. They can't enter the lane, they're gonna get zoned off, and they're gonna just possibly die even or blow their sums. So this is probably their best bet. Because there's always a chance that BLG were just hiding in the bush, right? And GenG is aware of this too, that they might get cheesed if they go back bot. So normally the T1 swap would just be that they base and then they go bot and then they normally do it. But BLG is prepared for this and they're preparing for it accordingly. And that's why they're looking to cheese them on bot lane, hoping that they are gonna path into bot and do the T1 swap. But GenG out mind games them and actually stays on top, goes into fog. And it's a beautiful thing because they're also playing with the information that the opponent have. They know that they're in fog. They know that the enemy might think that they're actually basing, but they're not actually basing. So yeah, I just wanted to make a short video on that. I just thought it was a beautiful thing to watch. The amount of mind games. I don't think people like really saw it in game. I think it was kind of missed. But yeah, I just wanted to go in detail of it because I am a Laneswap nerd, and I just think that was like really nice. I'm a big chess player myself, so it was really nice to watch. I think that's fucking fun to watch. Anyways, remove lane swaps.